It has been said that children don't come with an instruction manual. In short, insightful segments, learn from an eclectic panel of parents as they offer their perspectives on issues that affect parenting today. The Nation RoundTable. Our conversation topic for tonight is, how have our parents shaped the person we are today?
Wow, welcome to another episode of Nation RoundTable. Thank you very much for being with us today for this special episode. One of the areas that I've been very big on as a parent myself, is that often we kind of look at our kids and play the role of parenting. But obviously we all ourselves, we all a child of somebody, and so what's one area that you would say that in your life, that either mom or dad has done, for you, that has kind of in a way shaped who you are today? What would you say if there was just kind of one key area? So for today, can we start off with maybe Rajiv?
I think the one thing that that was really grateful to my parents was they were always encouraging. I mean, even from young in kindergarten and in primary school, when I would do concerts, and I wasn't the best on stage. In fact, I was pretty horrible. But mom was going, "Oh, great! I didn't know you could sing, son." Yeah, and so I mean that sort of encouragement sort of helped me all through my life. Yeah, someone who sort of pushed you and supported you. Yeah.
So lots of encouragement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it both from both mom and dad?
Both, yeah. Dad was more the silent type, but that look he had in his eye, that you had his approval. Yeah.
Yeah. That look in his eyes.
Exactly. Mom was more about the chatter. Yeah. Yeah.
And you felt that was something that really helped you along.
Exactly. Yeah. It just made me feel that I could do anything. I could take on anything. Yeah. And that was really helpful.
Wow. Cool. Fantastic. Yeah. And is that something that you find very important for your kids now?
Yes, I try and do the same for my kids. Attend their functions, their concerts, and I think my wife does more of that than I do, to be honest. So she deserves more of that than I do. But we try and instill that as much as we can.
Are you the silent daddy? Well, and yourself, Chandran?
I think the greatest favor that my father did those many years ago was to accept a job in an organization that gave him a living quarters up there in Woodlands. So I grew up in this small area with about 10-15 families, close by. There was Cantonese music next door, different kinds of smells. At 4 o'clock there was Hindi music from the Sikh family. And there was no segregation, so it was just normal for me to live amongst this. And there was a kampong beside us too, and then we spent a lot of time out there in the wilderness at that time. But now there's no more wilderness, so it's a sense of adventure. That was a wonderful start to my life.
So that environment gave you a whole.
Yeah, that's why I've been doing children's theatre all my life.
Yes, yeah. So the whole kind of space and environment helped you to influence who you are, you think?
Definitely, definitely. And the idea of not seeing differences in people, and I think for my parents, I mean, they came from Kerala and all that. I mean, that was a big deal. You see, there was no talk about race, religion, although we were Hindus, but it was not a big issue. And I think I'm so grateful to have grown up like that. And I try to instill in my children too, and people around me.
To give them lots of different perspectives.
So that was the kind of childhood I had. And
How about yourself, Sharanjit?
Well, kind of a similar story actually from as you've heard from both of you. I think parents.
What, they left you in a shopping mall?
Actually, do you know what? It's really funny because my parents were unfortunately, my father has passed away. He was quite young when he passed on. He was 57. He had a a brain tumor. So it was very traumatic for my family. But I think growing up, you know, they were perfect parents in the sense that, rather ironically, even though I was the only girl, and you know, girls tend to be protected a lot in Asian families, they actually gave me quite a lot of freedom.
Wow.
Which, you know, when I look back and I think, gosh, I can't believe my parents let me do that. You know, at quite a young age, you know, we all moved to the US, and then I went on to do grad school, and I was quite young. I was only about 20, 21, and they just said, oh, you know, you just decide what you want to do. Of course, there was that push to try to get into a legal career as well, very similar. And I was like, no, I'm going to be a journalist. And they were like, really? Okay, well, why don't you go try it out? And I did, and it was extraordinary because I was living by myself at quite a young age, and you know, living with quite questionable characters as well. So, for instance, I moved into this wonderful apartment, which I absolutely adored. It was right across from, you know, this beautiful beach. It was wonderful. So they didn't make me make my own choices. They let me make my own choices, and it was great to do that. Though there was a little bit of concern, I think, when I did become a journalist. I did freelance for a bit, and they were like, so when are you going to go and get a proper job? I'm like, this is my proper job. I actually do television, and I'm a journalist. And they're like, well, you know, it's not really steady, is it? You're doing all these other bits on the side. And, you know, it's a bit like, I suppose, being an actor as well. You're doing lots of different work, but nothing really consistent. So I think they were concerned about that a little bit at first, but then they sort of approved it in the end. So they're very pleased, and I know they've... my mum still watches me, and she lives in the US, and she gets up and she'll watch me. Sort of, it's prime time over there. It's a very early morning slot here, so she loves it. And she watches me all the time, and she tells me off when I'm, you know, you haven't been sleeping, girl. I can tell. You've been out partying the night before.
So always know, don't they?
Yeah. So I think just the fact that they let me make my own choices, and there was that level of, rather surprisingly, a level of freedom that I could have.
At quite a young age too, at that stage.
Yeah.
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 Wow. So
did you have siblings?
Yes, I've got two brothers.
Younger or older than you?
An older one and a younger one. Yeah, they both live in the US as well. So my entire immediate family all live away. I'm the only one who came home.
Come home. Wow.
Yeah.
Great for Singapore.
I don't know if Singapore agrees. Not with some of my BBC stories.
Okay, cool. How about Adrian?
In a similar way, my mum was the one to be much more vocal about I suppose, I wouldn't go so far as say encouraging, but kind of pushing. And my dad would kind of silently nod and agree with this pushing. And so there was a lot of pushing through my growing up years.
Yeah.
And without being overly facetious about it, I would actually say that the one significant thing that kind of impacted on who I have become today is them, I suppose, finally giving up on me. It's only half in jest, because I mean, like I said, through my formative years, there was a lot of pressure, I suppose, to excel and to perform, you know, in school, etc. But never to perform on stage. But that was always something that was kind of latent, and I knew was present. But that was never something that they even knew to encourage.
Okay.
Because you know, they wanted me to be a lawyer. And hence, you know, when it came to that fateful day when it was very obvious to them that the law thing was never going to happen, and they were just kind of threw their hands up in despair and go, oh, whatever. That was a big day for me. A big day for me. But like I said, you know, as parents, all you want for your kids are for them to be happy. You know, and there's a very distinct. It's very distinct whether you want your kids to be successful or to be happy. Yes, you can. Yes, you can be both. But very often, you know, certainly, happiness comes first. Happiness comes first, and I think they realize that. And in their heart of hearts, I think they realize that, and they felt, okay, you know what? If this is what you really have to do, go and find your way. And I always knew that they'd be there for me. And it was a case of, okay, just let me go and I may fail. Let me go and just fail on my own terms.
Yeah.
Sounds very romantic and all that, but I think they were just kind of saying, yeah, okay, go, fine, go, and but I always knew that they'd be there for me, and they've always been there for me, through my whole working life, and still waiting for me to fail. and I fail, I fail, but I pick myself up knowing that they're there, watching my back. So yeah.
So it's the moment when they kind of like
they let go.
Let go.
I think, yes. I think so for me as a parent now, I think I've told myself to learn to let go a little bit earlier. I guess it's kind of scary, but I think you have to. You have to know. You have to prepare yourself for that.
And it is scary, isn't it? Letting go business. So it must have been a big moment for your parents too.
Yes, it was a lot of tears. Yeah, a lot of tears.
Tears
Some
of
from
joy.
my mum.
Tears of joy.
Mostly from me.
But I'm sure they're proud of you now.
Yes, I mean to a fault. Actually, I mean my mum, she'll watch any rubbish that I do, and there's a lot. Yes.
I'm sure that your audience doesn't think that.
Well, I don't know.
Adrian's being very modest. Wow, I've learned a lot from everybody. I mean, I too, I've always reflected how, my parents have kind of shaped who I am, but hearing from all of you, I mean, I'm sure the parents at home today as well, from many, many perspectives, the great thing about parenting is there's just no wrong, there's just no right. And it's, every family is uniquely special and different, isn't it? Yeah. So, thank you very much.
Hello parents, and thanks for watching Champs TV. If you would like to see more videos that help take your parenting skills to another level, just click on the subscribe button below. Thanks for watching Champs TV, and continue to discover the champion in your child. This has been a Mind Champs Media production.